Hello everyone, this is Jim Delapine, and I know that a number of you, if not all of you, are very unfamiliar with Flash and have a bit of a concern regarding the Final Course project. So I'm going to try to allay those fears and give you an overview as to what is possible and what I did to create an animation with regards to your intro page. So I really want to just show you what, first of all, will be expected of you. Okay, so you need to create a splash page. Okay, that is an animated splash page. So I'll show you what I did, and then what I'll do is kind of go through the process of how I did that. So perhaps you can apply those techniques to something that you want to do. Okay, so let me just preview what I have open here, and all right. So here's my animated intro. Okay, I've used masked with that. And now you need to have a skip intro button or skip button on your animated page, splash page. It could also say enter, okay, but as long as it's working, so notice I'm going to hover above that skip intro text and I get that little indication that this is a link. So once I click that, it's going to bring me to a home page, all right? And within that home page, you need to be able to go to three other sources, okay, three other links or pages, okay. So if I click on the About button here, I'm going to an About page where you can have a bio. And this is just an example now, okay. You could have any three links you want. If you're coming up with a company, fine. But just as long as you are linking to three other locations, okay. And then a contact page. Okay, so from within these pages, I should be able to go back and forth to each one. Okay, so that's just a matter of working with the script and coding. Okay, I make it sound simple, and it's something that I find a bit frazzling myself. I'm not a code-oriented person. I'm more visually oriented. So let me close out of this and actually, let me show you this one more time. Let me just preview the intro. Okay, so that was done using masking, and I created these shapes here in Illustrator. All right, so let me just close out of this, and let's talk about the structure of what we have here. So these are the keyframes that I have. Okay, so you'll notice that notice how I have this set up with layers that are named, and you want to try to stay as organized as possible. So I have my skip intro button on one layer, my splash intro, the animation splash on a separate layer altogether. And what this is a movie clip. So I'll show you that in a second, and that's where we'll recreate this, okay? I have all my actions on one layer. I have the background on another layer, and you don't get to see these until you get to this page, these keyframes right here, okay? So let's take a look at what this looks like. So my actions for the skip button will look like that, okay? And this will be different. And this is actually these are actions that will take you to a page, okay, labeled keyframe, okay. So it's called page. So let's say we want to go to the portfolio page, okay. Notice when I select that, this page is labeled, okay. And you can't actually see this now, but if you see these red flags, that's what indicates that. And you'll see that in the lessons, you'll be getting all this information and steps to go through. So if I extend this out, I'm hitting F5 now to extend out the length of this. Okay, you'll see that it's called page 4. So anything that, any change in here will be indicated over here. Okay. So I could just call it a page. Okay. So this has to exactly match what will be in the codes. Anyway, let's take a look at what the goal is, which is to show you how to create that animation here. So I actually put everything contained into a movie clip, which is a nice little package, okay? And if I open up the movie clip, which is a splash page animation, it will look like this. So I'm double clicking on this to get into the editing mode. And as you can see here, I have a whole bunch of frames here. Okay, so this actually goes out to be 205 frames long. And being that Flash is, we're seeing this at 30 frames per second, which is the speed of video, actually. All right, so we have, if you do the math, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, it's like 6.5 seconds, whatever the math is. Okay, so if we take this back home here, all right, we'll go back to the beginning. So let's talk about how this was created. All right, notice here, okay, I have a mask and underneath is the name. So I'm going to, and I named that, but notice the icons. Let me uncheck the mask option, and this is what we have here, okay? I simply have my name, which is I actually brought this in as a JPEG file, but created it in Illustrator, and I advise you to work with Illustrator, okay? Illustrator makes things very simple. Design your web page in Illustrator, okay? It's a very shape-oriented program, and it makes things very easy, okay? So just for as far as shapes goes, okay? This is how I did it. If you're more comfortable with Photoshop, that's fine also, okay? So when you design your pages, make sure that you set up the page to be the end result stage size that it will be in Flash. And I'm recommending 1366 pixels wide by 768 pixels high. There we go. And let's see, let me just bring my document up here. Okay, so if we go to the properties panel, and let me just exit the editing mode. Okay, so let's go back into the editing mode, and I have to remember to stay consolidated here. Okay, so let me just fit this in the window here. Show frame, and okay, I've got to be a little, I have to be a little creative with the screen real estate here because of the size of the viewing area. Okay, so here's what I am going to do. I created a new layer, and I'll call this new name. Okay, and I am going to bring over my original file here that I used to work with. All right, and I'll place it right here. All right, so this is the new layer. All right, so what I'm going to do is hide my bottom layers and create another new layer on top of that I'll use as my mask. And I'll call this new mask. Okay. I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool. Okay. And there are a number of ways to accomplish this, okay? But this is one method to make it look as if it's being written. You can create a signature writing look with this, etc., etc. Okay, so let me zoom in here. So if I wanted to start from this point here, okay, what I'm going to do is go to my brush size and select a size right in here. So this is the largest that I'm going to have here. So I'm going to click to create that on my first keyframe on the mask, okay? We're not touching the name, so as a matter of fact, let me lock that just in case. Now what I'm going to do is duplicate that frame by hitting the F6 button, okay? And then I'll come back here and paint a little more. I'll hit F6 again, and I'm going to leave my finger resting on the F6 button because what that does is it duplicates that keyframe along with the contents of it. So I'm creating a new keyframe here or editing the new keyframe, hitting F6. Notice what happens here. Painting more. All right. F6, painting more. F6, painting more. F6, painting more. And so on and so forth. So I went a lot slower. I did little increments like that before I duplicated the frame. All right, but I'm just going quickly here because I just want to really just show you the process. So every time you create a keyframe, you have to imagine that this part here will be, whatever you're painting will start to appear to the viewer. Everything else out here is hidden right now, right? But the viewer is seeing the progression of what you paint. Okay, F6 again. Okay, so I think that's all I need to show you technique-wise for that, okay? You're going to be duplicating these keyframes over and over and over. This could take you in as much as a half an hour to 45 minutes to accomplish, all right? I did this to accomplish that 207 times, okay? So you can imagine. So for every 30 keyframes, you're creating 1 second of animation, all right? So you can look at it like that, right? So now, what I'm going to do is right-click on the new mask layer here and select mask. All right? They, by default, automatically lock, and they need to stay locked. Well, the first part of the logo. And now as you scrub, it's being revealed, and that's based on what I painted. Okay? So based on what I painted, you'll see that. So that's the technique. You can see that there. All right, that's what it looks like without it being set up as a mask. So if I selected this mask layer here and then right-clicked and selected mask, bam, there we go. All right, so that is the technique, and that should, there's other ways of creating masks, all right, but I've gone on long enough. I'll create separate videos for that. And I want to also show you some other techniques. So you'll be getting some videos posted as we go along. All right. So I hope you guys get value from this. Take care. Bye.